All right. Well, welcome everybody. This is Coffee Talk, and normally Coffee Talk is streamed into this private group that I have. Actually, it's a public group, but today we're here in Facebook on my public profile. So how does it get better? And I am joined by my friend Mohnish, who's currently in Puerto Vallarta. And we're just going to chat about some things and maybe open up some possibilities for people. So welcome, Mohnish. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Julie, and hi everyone listening now and later. What a privilege to have this chat with you. And yes, how much fun can we have? What can we speak about that might create more possibility or a greater possibility for everyone?
Yeah,
Looking for one.
exactly. There's so much stress and uncertainty and kind of craziness going on in the world, and it seems to have ramped up.
Yeah.
So, um, talking about possibilities, sometimes people are like, what are you talking about? Possibilities? Like, I have to deal with this. What are some of your go-to things that you do so that you don't get overwhelmed by the craziness in the world?
Cool. Well, one of the things I will start with is the only reason I started looking for something in the direction of personal development is because of the overwhelm and crazy and not knowing how to handle it. Um, it's been about eight or 9 years that I've been using the tools of Access Consciousness. If anyone is new to Access Consciousness, feel free to check out the website accessconsciousness.com. Both Julie and I are facilitators of Access, and we may or may not run the Access clearing statement. But if we do, it's a bunch of words, and you can check out about that on theclearingstatement.com. So coming back to overwhelm, my sense was when I first started using these tools, I had some ease with what I was aware of. And over a period of time, and recently, like, let's say when we experienced the world going into a lockdown and COVID, and now a lot of financial stress in the world, I was making everything personal, just the way I was 8 years ago. And then I was reminded that what helped me with these tools was the acknowledgement that 98% of what I was aware of, the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the intensities, the overwhelm, did not belong to me. And time to time, I've had to have set a reminder for myself to know the more consciousness, more personal development I have chosen, my awareness has increased of everything, not just the intense, overwhelming thing, but everything. And
Right.
I know it may sound very daunting to say, oh my God, okay, fine. So what do I do? I'm aware of the overwhelm. But then we've been trained and entrained and taught to put our attention on the thing that is loudest and go to stress about it. And we forget that we came here looking for relaxation. And that is one of the most important keys for me right now.
Yeah.
As you relax, you can also be aware of everything else that's not very loud. It's like literally like you're
Hold on, because this is so good, but you're like speeding past some really important things.
sorry, have that
You
problem.
said you said 98% of your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions aren't yours. And we know this because we've heard this and studied it and found it to be true. But there's a lot of people out there who are like, what? What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
So one of the tools that we use in Access, yeah, we can learn it, study it, find it, but then now you have to apply it and apply it in the sense, make it part of your regime is one of the tools that we use is who does it belong to? For example, anything that you're aware of, the thoughts, feelings, emotions, anxiety, stress, I have to pay the bill, oh my God, I'm getting late, etc. if you try and ask this question, who does it belong to? And if it lightens up even a little bit, then please know it's not yours. You're just aware of it. I know at first it may sound so challenging because of the simplicity of it. It could even sound like too good to be true. But I'm not saying please follow what I'm saying. I'm saying try it out and see what happens for you because it works. And that can start to begin and present a different possibility for you to be aware of how aware you are. And once you can get to that space where you acknowledge, I'm not crazy, I'm aware, then you have different choices available. Like a good example in simple terms would be you're walking out on the street and you're smelling really bad things. Now, that just means your nose is working. If you walk past a beautiful rose and smell that too, that doesn't mean that, one thing is better than the other. It's just what's out there and you're aware of all of it. If that makes any sense.
It totally does. And I've never actually looked at it in terms of scent.
For example,
But
yeah.
but like that's one way that you can pick up things, but you can also pick up feelings in your body. There was one time I was playing tennis, and this was a few years after I had learned the tool.
Mm-hmm.
I was like practicing it, but I was playing tennis, and then all of a sudden, my knee really hurt, and I like had to stop, and I couldn't walk on it. And then I looked over, and far down on like 3 courts over, somebody came on with a knee brace.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, it's not mine. And then
Yeah.
instantly the knee pain went away and I was able to play.
Yeah. But look at the simplicity of that. And it takes a little bit of courage and practice to relax into that and say, okay, it does not have to be so complicated that even if I have body pain, if I can just ask a question and acknowledge something and it goes away, it's okay. That's what is becoming possible and available for the world. How I'm seeing is 8 years ago, I thought this was confusing. You have to use this to finally solve a problem. Like, I used to look at everything. I have this problem. How do I solve it? And now, finally, I'm personally starting to access this space. If nothing was a problem, if I did not immediately go into the problem solution flight fight mode, which I have functioned as for the past 35 years, you know, you know, being in this, you're trained that if you can solve a problem, you're intelligent, you're smart, you can do anything as long as you can find the fix. But what we're talking about is it's no longer about finding the fix. However, relaxing into the fact that you're aware and that you have awareness that nobody kind of gives you the training around in terms of how to be with your awareness. And as you can start to be with your awareness without judging you, like the very fact thing, like for example, you're saying, I looked at a person at the tennis court who had knee pain and I had knee pain. Now that takes some serious amount of power to feel that, to be
Yeah,
aware
and
of that.
you feel it before you see the other person, so your body is aware.
And that is the miracle and the power which we twist into the problem and pain because
Right.
nobody's actually shown us this other way. So that is just a way bigger conversation. What if everything that we're experiencing as a problem was a direct result of us not acknowledging it as an awareness? And if we can, then probably it's no longer a problem for us and something else becomes possible, something greater becomes possible. Mm, yeah, yeah. I guess
Yeah.
I'm speaking again too fast, so do excuse me.
No, it's
Hopefully
great.
someone can hear what
So
I'm.
everybody out there who like really thinks it's so great to be a problem solver,
Yeah,
if you had no problems to solve, then what would you choose?
yeah. And also, if you look at every problem from a different perspective, like fine tune the setting.
Yeah. So we can turn it from problems to possibilities.
A, that, and B, if, for example, you are in a practice of healing or coaching or whatever, people will come to you with problems. Now, I'm not saying don't solve their problem or don't offer them something that will, or just say, no, this is not a problem, go away and find out on your own. Also saying solving problem is a great ability when applicable. And let's look at this for a moment. When you're in actual crisis, when then there is something that really requires you to handle a crisis, look at yourself, how relaxed and calm and composed you get, and you actually handle it without a problem. So you know you're capable of doing it. But then that becomes like the default position, not like one of the possibilities or one of the gifts or one of the abilities. That just becomes like the primary functionality. And that's where this flow and dance of things is, like with relaxation. If you knew you can handle anything, you knew now that you know yourself, you can solve any problem. And if you can now start looking at problems differently, you can have it all. An overall perspective, a 360-degree view of, okay, there's something wrong, you know how to address it, handle it. And then what else would you like to create from the space of possibilities and relaxation?
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
So how did you find the tools?
Oh, well, my personal story is I was convinced that I was schizophrenic and bipolar. I was told by every doctor, and I was severely addicted to drugs and all kinds of medications. Like I was taking 25 pills a day just to stay alive. And I was very functional. I had two businesses. I did all those things and the pills and went to work every morning while crying inside and dying inside. Um, there was an incident when I was like, I'm done. I attempted, let's just say my house was on fire one night, and I woke up the next day without a scratch. I knew then that was not the direction I wanted to go in. Next day, at my business practice, an editor of a magazine sent a friend who just spoke to me about access consciousness. And that's how I found out access consciousness in India years and years ago. And I did one session, to be very frank, with this person. And the insomnia I had for 8 years, the drug addiction, etc., all just kind of went away poof in one session. I slept that night. I remember it was a Thursday. I woke up on Saturday without any medication or pills. And I woke up a different person. So I knew personally there was something more for me in that. I started educating myself and kept going and learning more about these tools. Some of it has been to do with the spirit world, the awareness of the unseen. But like all of it is the awareness of unseen because, feelings you can feel, but they're invisible, just like oxygen, for example,
Right.
emotions. You just pick up on everything. It's just floating around everywhere. But the way to maneuver it and navigate your life despite all of that is the true magic. I was informed by one of the facilitators. They acknowledged something. It's like the only reason you didn't kill yourself is because you knew something else was possible. So if you haven't, everyone listening now, if you haven't failed yet, you're not going to. You just keep going.
This is true. Wow. That's cool. And so because you had such a dynamic change, not everybody does in the beginning.
Not everybody needs like a change like that in the beginning.
Exactly.
There is
Exactly.
something different going on. We all come from different walks.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
but after that, and you didn't have the addiction and you didn't take the pills, like what made you continue to choose to learn more?
Well, I would say I am an addictive person, and this was very, very good for
So
me.
now you're addicted to possibilities.
have to acknowledge if I like something, I like a lot of it. And it works for me in a way that nothing else has. When I say it, I would say all of it: consciousness, possibilities. I've had so many crashes in the last 35 years. I'm sure everyone has in their own way. And every time I had a crash, I just knew I was paralyzed and dysfunctional for quite a considerable amount of time. I wouldn't say my crashes have stopped, but my recovery period is sometimes between minutes to a day, maximum 2 days. And that is what keeps me going, that, I don't have to just kind of give up what I'm creating based on what I experience, based on what I'm aware of. And the possibility side of the things is increasing more than the problems. So that's what keeps me going. The quality of my life has improved. Um, Everything that I wanted to change, I have changed. And now I'm creating from the space of, okay, what would be fun? What would be too much fun? What would be just too cool? And what would it be like if I can now show the world where I started 8, 9 years ago, where I am now? How many people can hear that and are looking for that? I mean, like, we're not promising blue pill, red pill, take it and you're done. No, tools that are available, and rest is your choice, and dedication to work on yourself and use and apply these tools for yourself. And that is one of the biggest challenge, because many people who do have challenges or problems, they're looking for a quick fix.
Mhm.
However, very few are actually committed to keep going and keep working on themselves, because there is so much confusion about personal development as being the answer, but then they forget the whole focus. It's personal development. You do not stop your personal development till you have developed to the degree you would like to develop, and that depends on each person. Some just want to get out of pain, and that's enough development for them. They go away. Some, they're like, okay, I would like my wings and I would like to fly. Some are like, oh my god, I would like to have more access to more magic, more possibility, more. So it truly depends on what your target is and what you're looking personal development for. And it never stops. There's always more develop into, to grow into, to bloom into, to flourish. Like nature, it never just collapses and dies. It just keeps growing and growing and
Yeah,
growing.
it's not done.
Yeah, it's not done. And something like that might be possible with us as beings, with our bodies, and with
Mm,
everything that we're choosing in our life. Like looking
mhm,
at an example from the earth, never stops.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. One of the things that I've noticed is the more you use the tools, the more present you are with your body naturally. It's like you feel everything going on
Hmm.
in such a different way.
Hmm.
Um, and it's more of an enjoyment, or at least it is for me. Maybe it's not everybody.
Most times.
Like just stretching and move. It's just like, when you see a cat stretch after they get up from a nap and they're like, and it just looks so good.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, let's look at that. Most people do not even have the vocabulary that they are not their body. Most people have the idea that they are their body. And then there is, like the soul and the body. There are some conversations in the spiritual world around it, but there is no clear, let's just say, information available that your body speaks different than your being. And then your body has a completely different language than your head or your mind. Your body does not think the same way you think or your brain does, but it functions as part of the whole. And that might be a conversation for another time. But everything is just so blended together that, for most people, they are their bodies. I function like that, you know, when years and years ago I had access to this information, that I was my body. Everything that I felt is me. But over a period of time, work to develop this language just to acknowledge that your body has a different language and it talks differently and it has different desires and demands, and it wants to look a certain way, dress certain things, eat certain things, and those things may not match what the person has decided that, oh my god, my favorite food is pizza, and your body might go, I don't
No.
want pizza today. Like, but we don't have that kind of conversation going on in the world at a scale where enough people can get to the awareness. And if we can invite people to work with their bodies by communicating with their bodies different,
Mm.
says less and less and less and less conflict between the being and body occurs. And then if there is less conflict between the being and the body, there is little to no sickness.
That's so true.
Mhm.
I met a woman at the certified training last year who is a doctor, and she talks about this and, asking your body, and like, what an amazing gift, because she is a doctor and she's giving out this information to people. So they're going to listen to her much more than maybe us talking on Facebook, but maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody will listen and try it out. But it really is amazing when you do communicate with your body and you listen to it. It desires to have a joyful expression of living, not have pain and suffering. And so just simply listening to, asking it, following its lead, it can change so much of your life.
Yeah. I mean, most people do not consider that their body is their friend. They force it to change. They wanted to look at it a different way. I mean, I live in a town where, let's just say, there are a lot of models working in all kinds of areas, and steroids are sold here over the counter. And so is all kinds of ailments and assistances to give you a certain appearance. That's the norm here.
Mm,
That's
wow.
considered good. And I'm like, okay, all right, because it's got nothing to do with what's pleasurable, but it's based on an image. Because yes, if you're a model, you do need a certain kind of body and then certain kind of appearance. And then if it works for you, great. If you want to have a different conversation about having your body as your friend and actually having the pleasure and the hedonism and the enjoyment of your body, like having lightness, almost like where your body bubbles with joy, like almost like champagne bubbles. And when you listen to it, it's a very different possibility. Makes me sad that not enough people are aware of it or wanting to go in that direction. But also makes me very proud that at least some of us are having that conversation, and at least we're starting to go in that direction where, one day it might tip over and people might start listening to their body again. I think one of the great resources, if somebody is interested in finding out more about it, is this great book by Dr. Dane Gear, who's the co-creator of Access Consciousness, called Body Whispering. And
Hmm.
it's just great information about, but first, let's look at the name Body Whispering. Your body doesn't yell or loud, it gives you little whispers of how it communicates, you know. And if you can just kind of get a sense of listening to the whispers of your body, and there's a great deal of information, wealth of information available for anyone who's interested in exploring this area. Try it out for yourself. There are lots of tools too. It really helped me change my personal perspective with my body a lot.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that book is so great. I'll pop a link in the comments afterwards. But the body does yell occasionally when we don't listen. It gets louder and louder in the form of pain. I love how Gary says pain is awareness that you're unwilling to have.
Right.
And so, being aware, having awareness, building your awareness, it's like going to the gym and building muscles. You have to continue choosing to build that awareness every day or it erodes. And so many people are like, well, who cares? Like, why do I want to be aware? I've got, like the cars nowadays have video camera, so you don't have to know if you're close to somebody else. It
Yeah,
tells you and it beeps at you. And so we are eroding more and more of our awareness by leaning on all of these other things.
correct.
And then, then what happens? You get sideswiped.
I completely agree because there is a lot of resistance I have seen from many of the clients I've worked with over the years. They're like, why do I have to use it regularly? I'm like, okay, we make a deal. You do not brush your teeth for 2 months and do not use tools for 2 months. And then we can have a conversation, like even because some people don't even like to go to the gym and they don't even get the idea of what we're talking about. Just get a sense of not brushing your teeth for a month, 2 months, 5 years, 10 years. What? And that's what we do to our bodies and our beings when we like sort of don't pay attention, even if it takes a few minutes.
Yeah,
And then,
so true.
you know,
Yep. And one of my favorite ways to build the awareness is through things that are naturally unseen, like the spirit world and Talk to the Entities program. I mean, it's just so amazing where you can get with that information.
absolutely.
Nobody
No,
knows about.
I I was convinced that there was something wrong with me or I was schizophrenic because I heard voices or saw things. But then when I was given some information, not just willy-nilly information and some tools around how to handle the awareness around spirit world, my life flipped overnight. And for that, I would not forget from where I started and where I am. And if it sounds too good to be true, it's still true. It helped me, it's helped you. And there are people looking for this out there because we have something available in terms of tools and information that are very few places that are offering that. Because I personally tried every church, temple, priest. I'm from India. I went to every temple, pray for everything, and then tried everything else that was available. This is what helped me because it educated me and enabled me, like I was not given a fish to eat to survive a night. I was taught how to fish. And that
Exactly.
helped me survive and then thrive.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to go to psychics to tell you stuff. You can actually be
No, no,
empowered
come
to
to
know
us. Come to us. We'll tell you stuff. We're psychic. Joking, joking, joking.
I know. And you know what? It's so much more satisfying when you get it. Oh my gosh.
Yes. And no one can take it away from you. Cannot be stolen or taken away once you have it because you be
Yeah.
the most cherished treasure of all of it for me.
Awesome. Wow. What a fun conversation.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you for joining me. Thank you,
Absolutely.
everybody, for watching. We got a
Great.
lot of hearts. Somebody
Okay.
was very big on the hearts. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. Until next time, have a good one.
Yes. And be sure to send me your contact info and I'll put it in the show notes as well.
We'll do that.
Thanks. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye.